Tomorrow, Tampa City Council is expected to tackle an issue getting attention since the beginning of this year, hiring an independent attorney for Tampa's Citizens Review Board. Tonight, ABC Action News is diving into this issue affecting how Tampa's police department is held accountable and what the powers the Citizens Review Board actually has as part of our commitment to follow through on important issues impacting our community. In-depth reporter Rochelle Aline is in studio tonight. Rochelle, how will this decision impact Tampa residents beyond those who wear a badge?
You know, Jameson, city documents actually show that if this plan is approved, the city would actually pay up to $100,000 from the general fund for this independent attorney. But those pushing for this change say it's an expense that's worth it to improve the checks and balances for local policing.
The draft ordinance regarding hiring of a legal advisor for the Citizens Review Board.
The topic of beefing up Tampa's Citizens Review Board and the power it has to investigate internal police cases is causing a lot of conversation.
The recent ordinance to get independent counsel for the Citizens Review Board here in Tampa.
And even leading to protests.
The people united! Will never be defeated!
And to understand why, we went straight to some of those closest to the issue.
Independent means nobody controls it.
That's James Shaw, a leader with the Greater Tampa Bay chapter of the ACLU, and he says this issue goes back to 2015.
And at that time, several local groups, including the Tampa for Justice Coalition, the NAACP, the ACLU, several others, got together and asked for the city of Tampa to create a Citizens Review Board.
But despite its creation, Shaw also says the ACLU felt that the CRB didn't really have the power it needed to properly investigate cases involving police conduct.
After the murder of George Floyd, there was renewed interest in modernizing Tampa's Civilian Review Board, and so the requests that we had made at the time in 2020 were to change the way in which CRB members were appointed so it was no longer a majority mayoral appointments. We wanted to have citizens be able to bring complaints directly to the CRB instead of having to go through the police department. We wanted the CRB to have the ability to issue subpoenas to get information that wasn't just given to them, and we wanted the CRB to have its own independent attorney.
In 2021, the ACLU also commissioned a survey of 590 people in Tampa of different races, ages, genders, and political backgrounds on these issues. 76% agreed that the CRB's appointment process should change. 74% said they should have subpoena power, and 68% said the CRB should have an independent attorney. In the time since that survey, those first two proposals haven't made it far with the City Council.
The CRB shall be represented by an independent attorney.
But the third push for an independent attorney is now being considered. Shaw says it's a change that would fix a conflict of interest because the city attorney's office currently advises the CRB.
And we're asking for an attorney that doesn't answer to any boss, that works for the city and also is charged with protecting the city from liability and giving advice to the police department.
Why are the cops different? It doesn't make any sense.
And it's a change that the Tampa Bay Community Action Committee, or TBCAC, agrees with.
As it stands, an outside counsel would be an improvement, regardless.
Joseph Nohava and the group feel so strongly about this,
Jane Castor would like a rubber stamp counsel,
that they've protested several times to raise awareness.
Shame!
The way we figure it, any and all tools that the CRB can have to gather evidence is a net positive.
Though Nohava adds that for the TBCAC, pushing for an independent attorney is just the tip of the iceberg, as ultimately they'd like to see community control of the police department.
That's our sort of fundamental goal. So, a elected citizen, sort of board that would be able to oversee police hirings, firings, policy, and be able to select the police chief.
It's not clear if the City Council will address that proposed change in the near future, but based on their February 16th meeting,
all in favor?
It appears that they are in favor of moving forward with an independent attorney for the CRB.
What I want to see done, and I think a majority of us want us to do this, which is to have the board have separately, privately retained counsel and do it in the most reasonable way and not get, in my opinion, get caught up on small issues, which is what's that saying, a solution in search of a problem or whatever it is. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Again, making sure the board does have separately retained private counsel. I think that's reasonable. I'm fine with that.
And as I mentioned off the top, that privately retained attorney would come at a cost to the city. And some of the community have asked me if that attorney could truly be independent if the city is still technically paying them. So I asked the two groups at the forefront of this fight.
The Civil Service Board has an outside attorney that is a private law firm that's hired by the city, and the city pays their bills, but the city doesn't control the independent professional judgment of the attorney.
I guess the money's got to come from somewhere, right? I think it's just kind of comes down to, okay, what is this person's role, right? What are they being paid to do? Is it this dual kind of relationship, or is this person strictly being paid for, one purpose?
So, Rochelle, this is an issue that has led to a lot of back and forth from the city council as well as the mayor's office. And now the council is looking to vote on it as a city ordinance instead of changing the city charter as it was first proposed.
Yeah, that's right. The city council originally voted to place this issue on the March 7th ballot so the community could vote on this issue themselves. But after the mayor vetoed that proposed change and several others, the council decided to vote on this issue as an ordinance to try and avoid another veto from the mayor. Tomorrow's meeting would also be the first reading of this proposed ordinance change. And if it does move forward, this change could be one of the last biggest votes that the current council members have a chance to vote on ahead of several city council runoff races in late April.